Hey everybody, welcome back to another market update. Today we're doing the month of September 2022, and I've got a little special surprise. So I know I've been talking about doing this for a while, but finally added some of the beach communities as well as some other sorry, I'm just getting the slideshow going. Some other kind of commuter communities, if you will, like Bridgewater and Truro. Both of those are about an hour away, and they're on, well, Churo's on a fully divided highway all the way there, and Bridgewater's on a divided highway about 3/4 of the way there. So yeah, let's hop into it. And we'll get going here. So for those tuning in for the first time, as always, the way we do this, we walk it through kind of neighborhood by neighborhood, and in this case, also town by town. All areas are kind of within an hour of Halifax, and we'll go slow for Bedford. All the neighborhoods will be listed down below. So if you have a particular interest in one area or another, then you can kind of skip to those. And we'll kind of go from there. And also for those people who are kind of watching these and enjoying these, please be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment if there's another area you think would be beneficial for me to add into these, so I can just kind of go over the stats, and that really helps me out as well. Okay, so first off, we got Bedford. So again, for the first timers, basically what I do is I draw this kind of area around Bedford, and then we pull the stats from that direct area. So going into the stats, total sales and days on market, 32 and 19 respectively. So the total sales is obviously the total amount of sales in the month of September. And then the days on market is how many days on average is a property sitting on the market. So back in, early winter, we were seeing this hovering around 4, 5, maybe 6 days because things were going so quick. And now obviously the numbers keep creeping up, which is signaling towards more of a balanced market and more of a market where, buyers have a bit more power than they used to, right? And the rest of these stats are kind of going to show that as well. Showing per listing to new listing. So 5.7 is the showings per listing. So that's basically around 6 families or individuals who may have an interest in that house are coming in before that house is actually getting sold. New listings, obviously that's the new inventory coming on in the month of September at 46. Sale price to list price percentage. So on average, for each sale that had happened this past month, it went for 97.3 of the actual list price. So if it's, listed at $1 million, then it's going for $973,000. Don't quote me on that math, but anyways, you get the point. So before, again, back when at the hectic point of this market, we were seeing 120%, 110%. These were common numbers, and now we're starting to see it a little bit below asking. Single family monthly comparison. Month of August, we saw an average of 722,000, and then we see now the average of 675,000. So that's definitely a bit of a drop off. Again, when we're taking these areas like Bedford, Dartmouth, Sackville, there's a lot more inventory there. So sometimes those numbers can be a bit skewed, but this is just there to give you a general idea for what properties are going for. Okay, and then condo monthly comparison, same thing. So 400,000 to 410,000. Again, there's not a ton of condos out in Bedford, but include that. Okay, so Bridgewater, for the new, this is a new slide that we're doing. So Bridgewater, kind of down on the South Shore, about an hour, maybe hour and 10 minutes away on the Fisherman's Memorial Highway. Decent kind of town center, and it acts as like the town center for a lot of littler communities around the South Shore, which is popular for vacationers. People looking for a bit of a slower lifestyle, but still within an hour of the city. You've got lots of different shopping, like you got Value Village there, all the grocery stores, liquor stores, a lot of different little shops, movie theaters. They got a junior A team there, hockey if you're into getting some entertainment or whatnot. A little bit of industry there as well, but it's a smaller town, right? I don't know actually how many people live there, and as you can see, they also have a decently large hospital too, if that's something that's important to you. But again, and we've actually got a South Shore slide here later on, but wanted to include this because it's becoming more unpopular. A lot of builders have actually been doing some building down there in terms of apartment buildings and whatnot too, just because it is really just about an hour away on the highway. So much cheaper, as we'll see here, right? Total sales and days on market, only 12, and very low days on market, which to me signals that there's still quite a bit of interest in that area, right? Not the inventory. Obviously not as crazy as what we saw in the city back in, March, April, but it's obviously there's just less inventory, and as we can see, showings per listing and new listing, so 5 and 11, so pretty even on the takeaway and the bring back. So it was 12 that was taken away, 11 brought back. Sale price to list price percentage slightly over asking, which basically means there's multiple offers on these houses. Single family monthly comparison, 272,000 in the month of August and 282.5 for the month of September. Okay, Clayton Park and Rockingham. That up there briefly. Total sales and days on market, 28 and 11 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing is 7.2 and 44. Sale price to list price percentage, 99.2%. So a lot of these neighborhoods, they're staying where they kind of were in August, in terms of we're seeing it now pretty much leveling out right around 100%, maybe a little below, maybe a little above. But if we're seeing it below, that's generally meaning that there's hardly any or very few over asking, very few competitive bidding situations. And when we see these below the 100% value, that means that there's probably one buyer submitting one offer on that property. That's generalizing, but that's kind of the signal that I take from it. Single family monthly comparison, 627,500 versus 575,000. I really like this area. Clayton Park and Rockingham, they got some great homes, probably 15-minute drive to downtown Halifax, right along the Bedford highway there. Condo monthly comparison, 324,000 and 84,000. Condos, you got a variety. You can have like the boxes in the skies, I like to call them, or kind of the townhomes. Townhomes are a little harder to come by. Cole Harbour, and this includes Colby Village, areas like that. Total sales and days on market, 24 and 8 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing, 8.5 and 22. Sale price to list price percentage, a little bit over, right? So here we're seeing multiple offers probably, 101.8%. Single family monthly comparison, 417,500 versus 400,000. Actually, we won't get into that. Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So obviously pretty big area. This could probably be divided up into a few different areas. But for the purpose of this presentation, we don't want it to run too long. Total sales and days on market, 52 and 8 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing, 6.8 and 59. Sale price to list price percentage, 100%. Single family monthly comparison, 415,000 versus 425,000. Condo monthly comparison is 331,500 versus 340,000. Dartmouth's a great little city too. I had some folks in this past weekend from North Carolina who were checking that out, and the walkability in Dartmouth is phenomenal. It's very comparable, certain areas, very comparable to kind of downtown Halifax and the North End and all that stuff. So it's definitely something to look at. So now we got downtown Halifax. Total sales and days on market, 8 and 16 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing, 4.9 and 6. Sale price to list price percentage is 99.9%. And condo monthly comparison is $482,450. And then we saw this huge bump. So downtown, you're going to get a pretty big mix, right? You got some of these penthouse condos that are going to sell, and then you've got, more moderately priced properties, I guess you could say. There are a few homes in there scattered throughout, but most of it is going to be condos. Excuse me. Hope I don't get hiccups. Okay, Eastern Passage in Cow Bay. Nice little kind of beach community in Cow Bay. Eastern Passage is a bit more industrial. But, we included them on both. Total sales and days on market, 7 and 29. Showings per listing and new listing, 6.9 and 18. Sale price to list price percentage is 100%. Single family monthly comparison, 360,000 versus 326,000. So Eastern Passage actually saw a pretty big, draw. We've had so much activity in Eastern Passage over the last little while, and we've seen This month, a bit of a dip, right? Up until the last little while, like Eastern Passage was still going over asking. You know, you're 20 minutes away from Halifax. A lot of people like the Passage. But I noticed this month in the stats that we definitely saw a bit of a drop off in terms of what's been available there. How many people are walking through those homes? Actually, you know what? How many people are walking through that homes didn't really change. But the amount of listings and the amount of availability there, as we creep into winter, this trend will probably continue, but still quite low. All right, here's a new one. Eastern Shore, Lawrencetown. So this is, you know, as you can see down where Cow Bay is right there. So that's referencing to the city. The city is further to the left. But this is a popular, I call this the beach communities, you know, rural for sure, but you have access. You've got Lawrencetown Beach there. You've got Conrad's tucked away, kind of near Lawrencetown. You've got Martinique Beach. I think it's the longest beach up by Pleasant Point there. And it's just all kind of oceanfront living that's much cheaper than the South Shore, which we will be kind of getting into. The highway that you see running along there, the 107, is not divided, but you know, the head of Jedore is the edge, and that would be, geez, I don't even know. I think that's probably about an hour. I would say, yeah, like an hour, maybe hour 15, hour 20 to the downtown Halifax. But again, it's large lots. You're out on the Eastern Shore. We can get a little bit of fog out there, but it is cheaper oceanfront living than you find in the South Shore. Why is that? Arguably, there's less stuff up there, right? So in the South Shore, you do have Bridgewater, you have Mahone Bay, you have, we'll get into that stuff. But up here, you've got the one hospital. I believe it's at the head of Chesapeake Cook, right? You have, you know, a grocery store up by the head of Chesapeake Cook is kind of the, I guess, main community there. Porter's Lake has a lot of those shops as well. Sorry, East Pepetswick. So where you see Muscatawb at Harbour up here, that would be where the hospital is. And you have, you know, that's kind of your access to amenities, but it's still, you know, great living out there. There's some beautiful beaches. This is kind of the surfing shore, the more popular surfing shore. And I think over time, these oceanfront properties will become quite desirable by folks who live in the city as kind of a second home, if you will, because the South Shore has already increased like crazy, and the Eastern Shore really hasn't as to the same clip that the South Shore has. Total sales and days on market, 7 and 4. Showings per listing and new listing, 4.5 and 11. Sale price to list price percentage is 100%. Single family monthly comparison, 445, basically 446,000 versus 350,000. So what does this tell us? You know, on these oceanfront areas, you're going to get houses that are maybe a little bit inland. Maybe they don't have the oceanfront view, and then you get the houses that do have the oceanfront view. So that'll skew the data a bit. But you're also noticing that 4 days on market, right? What does that mean? Well, it means that when things are going, they're going quick. So there isn't a ton of inventory. And when that inventory does come on, it goes very quickly. So to me, that means there's probably a few more people looking up there than in some of these other areas. But, you know, in the 400 range for a property price that may be close or on the water, that's pretty good price. Okay, Enfield, kind of the area, not out by the airport, it's past the airport. Bunch of new builds going on out there, really changing. About 40 minutes to the city, I would say. Total sales days on market, and that's divided highway. 15 and 9. Showings per listing and new listing, 5.8 and 20. Sale price to list price percentage, 99.3. Single family monthly comparison, 355,000. That is, I obviously did a typo there, versus 488.9. So yeah, you know, there's a healthy mix of older homes, not old homes, but older homes. And then they've got some new build communities going out there. I think it's Shaw and Marchand Homes who are doing that. Okay, Fairview, popular neighborhood here. Total sales and days on market, 2 and 20 respectively. That is a low number too. Geez. I remember back in February, that was like 20. Showings per listing and new listing, 6 and 3 respectively. Sale price to list price percentage, 100.2% over asking. Single family monthly comparison is 480 well, 481,000 versus 361,000. Fall River, another really great lake county, if you will. You know, it's not a county, but Fall River country. That is, you know, beautiful lakefront homes, a little bit not. Grocery stores out there, lots of stuff, and still about 20 minutes to, you know, they say 25 maybe. Total sales and days on market is 11 and 7. Showings per listing and new listing is 5.6 and 15. Sale price to list price percentage, 100%. Single family monthly comparison, 675,000 versus 635,000. Steadily seeing that number drop off. Sale price to list price percentage. I think Fall River won it back in February when they had the sale price to list price percentage average at 145,000 or 145%. And the average was like 800 grand or something. So I don't know. There was a couple houses I saw go for way, way over asking where they definitely, well, not that they definitely shouldn't have, but somebody probably, actually, I'm not gonna badmouth anybody on here. Hammonds, Plains, and Lucasville. So Lucasville being this little cut through road here. There's some, you know, very nice neighborhoods kind of tucked away in Lucasville as well. And Hammonds Plains, again, very similar to Fall River, lakefront living. You can really get lost in the neighborhoods back there. They got a golf course or two out there. Anyways, yeah, great spot. Large homes, large lots. Total sales and days on market, 15 and 24. Showings per listing and new listings, 5.1 and 16. Sale price to list price percentage, 98.2%. We're still seeing that come down. Single family monthly comparison, 675,000 versus 650,000. The Hammonds Plains houses, they're, you know, they look, not all of them obviously, but many of them, they'll look like this, you know, 2 floors, maybe a half finished basement. You got 3, maybe 4 bedrooms, nice carpet floors, usually an attached garage there, which isn't as common out here on the East Coast. And, you know, they're built like 20, 25 years ago. That's your stereotypical kind of Hammonds Plains home. Very nice, you know, nice finishes. And that's kind of what you're getting there. North End of Halifax. Again, something that was brought up to me this past week by these folks that came up from North Carolina was the, you know, I have to think sometimes living here, you don't take into account where are the biggest walkability areas. I would say the North End of Halifax definitely is the biggest walkability, right? So what I mean by that is, you know, what's the best neighborhood to get away with living in without having a car? I would pick the North End. Close second would probably be right near downtown Dartmouth. And then, you know, downtown Halifax, obviously. And parts of the South End / West End, right? I mean, realistically, you can be in the middle of, you know, Citadel or the Commons and walk to either side of the peninsula. So kind of like right where it says Roby Street there on the edge. And you can be touching the ocean on one side and touching the ocean on the other side in probably, I don't know, 15 minutes walk. So everything's very close, right? North End Halifax stats. Total sales and days on market, 11 and 16 respectively. Showings per listing and new listings, 4.6 and 20. Sale price to list price percentage, 95.4%. Single family monthly comparison is 480,000 versus 560,000. So a bit of an uptick. You know, you get a big variety in the North End, obviously. Condo monthly comparison, 457,500 versus $426,000. New build condo going up there. One of the very few called Agricola West. You can Google that. I'll show it. I was in there this past weekend. Pretty great spot. Very, very close to everything you really want. North End is going to be your cheapest neighborhood if you're looking to live on the peninsula of Halifax when comparing it to downtown, South End, West End. And you can get those houses again, like that's a pretty low price, you know, 500-ish thousand for a house, standalone home in North End. That's pretty good. Sackville, Beaverbank. Total sales and days on market, 41 and 15 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing is 6.8 and 47. Lots of inventory. This can be broken up into a couple places, but I just like to kind of keep it together. Sale price to list price percentage, 98%. Single family monthly comparison is 451,000 last month and 437,000 this month of September. The South End, this was brought up too. Funny mix of the student neighborhood and some of the highest priced properties in the province for sure. But again, good walkability. You're very close to everything. Total sales and days on market, 8 and 16. Showings per listing and new listing, 3.9, 14 respectively. Sale price to list price percentage is 95.9%. Single family monthly comparison is 1.287 in the month of August and 1.11 in the month of September. So slight drop off there. And that's going to also depend on, again, these houses a lot of them are quite large, and, a house that has all the newest and greatest updates that's been kind of flipped in the last 5 years is going to go for a different price than a house that, an older couple has lived in for the last 35. So it's really going to depend. Now, condo, on the other hand, and this is another thing that was brought up, quite low, right? When you're looking at the comparisons here, as we walk through these neighborhoods, 366,000 in the month of August, and now 505,000 in the month of September. Why is that? Well, there's not a ton that comes up on the condo stuff in the South End. I think what happens out here is the city is still small enough where people, if you were in the big city of Toronto, let's say, and you want to buy a house and you want a house for under $1 million, you got to be like an hour away. I don't even know, but I'm guessing an hour away. So people will sacrifice having that house for that proximity to work or play or whatever they want to do, right? Here in Halifax, though, you can go buy a house in the North End for 550 grand, right? And that's still on Peninsula Halifax. We just did the North End, right? Two slides ago. Or you can get a condo, a new build, a little shoebox condo for like 700 square feet, maybe 600 square feet. And that's going to cost you like around 525, 550, right? So when you're looking at it like that, people kind of get in this mindset of, okay, how bad do I really want to live in the South End, right? Like, yes, we're close to downtown, but you can find probably a house for around 500 grand in the North End that's just as far, maybe a little further away from downtown. So this mindset of sacrificing maybe your own individual property for proximity that you see in these larger cities where the condos are way, way high priced has not occurred out here, because you can still get properties for a manageable expense where you're getting 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, 1,500 square feet for whatever, 600 grand, 550 grand. So when you put it into that perspective, I think that's why we don't see these drastic differences. But the houses, on the other hand, the reason they're priced so high is because big properties, big houses, and there's not a stigma, I guess stigma isn't the right word, but a good stigma around the South End. People really, that's the Pine Box neighborhood, right? Where people move to, and they're not moving out of there until they get put in a box. Spryfield and Armdale. All right. Total sales and days on market, 17 and 4 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing, 6 and 33. Sale price to list price percentage, 99.6%. Single family monthly comparison is 472,000 versus 500,000. Condo monthly comparison, 430,000 versus 399,000. All right, here's the South Shore. So this is Cottage Country, Oceanside Cottage Country, I should say. And what we have here, we have Lunenburg down at the bottom left of the area, and we've got the Aspotogan Peninsula over to the right here. So everything in between there, Chester Basin, Mahone Bay, kind of the farthest left community there. These are all considered, this is cottage country. This is where people have summer homes. So a lot of people from the States will have a summer home. And this is just like, there's a ton of islands, as you can see, very quaint kind of communities, beautiful ocean vistas everywhere, beaches everywhere. You can find your own private beach like anywhere along here. Lots of people will kind of have little sailboats or whatever. This is just, it's an area over the last couple decades that has really picked up for people from the city or from another part of the world or country, or within our own country, to have a summer home, right? So you can kind of envision what that looks like. But you know, there's a lot of little places along here, a couple hospitals scattered throughout. It's a very large area, but again, this is kind of, you know, the South Shore is a very beautiful part of our province. And again, Lunenburg, it's probably a 45-minute drive down a divided highway for the most part. Chester is probably half an hour, right? So this is all very close. Total sales and days on market, 17 and 22. Showings per listing, 3.7 and 27. Sale price to list price percentage, 98%. Single family monthly comparison is 525,000 versus 549,000. Tantallon, Hubley. Again, this is close to the city. There's a whole bunch of different houses, types, age, you know, all kinds of stuff in there. Total sales and days on market, 7 and 10 respectively. Showings per listing and new listings, 4.4 and 23. Sale price to list price percentage is 98.8%. Single family monthly comparison is 515,000 versus 507,000. Timberlea and Beechville, a couple little new build neighborhoods going on here now too. But again, close to the province, nice little golf course community in there. Brunello Estates, they're continuing to build. There's a ton of stuff going on out there. Total sales and days on market, 4 and 15 respectively. Showings per listing and new listing is 5 and 11. Sale price to list price percentage, 99.9%. Single family monthly comparison, 365,000 versus 490,000. It's a bit of an uptick there. Okay, Truro, Nova Scotia. This is, I think, our third largest population center in the whole province. It would go Halifax, I think Sydney, and then Truro. It might be Halifax, Truro, Sydney. But this is basically the area that you leave Halifax heading, if you wanted to, let's say, drive to New Brunswick or something like that. You get to Truro, and right there at the top of the screen where it says Upper Onslow, that's where the highway forks. And one way takes you up to beautiful Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, about a 2.5-hour drive to the island from downtown Halifax, probably an hour and a half from here. And then the other way, an hour, the other way is towards New Brunswick. So Truro has really seen quite a bit of growth over the last while. Divided highway, you can be into the city of Halifax within an hour. Quite a few people do commute in from Truro. You got to take a car. What else? Yeah, it's just a large center, right? They've got big hospital there, big community, you know, sports stuff. They've got the Dalhousie Agricultural Campus there too, and Nova Scotia Community College, which is like our trades school. And they've got it's big kind of farming area, but it's not, there's farms in the area. It's a big kind of center. But they also have a agricultural incubator. So like an agricultural startup incubator. What else can I say about it? Yeah, good fishing. And yeah, let's get into it. Total sales and days on market, 9 and 8. Showings per listing and new listing is 4.2 and 16. Sale price to list price percentage, 97.9%. Single family monthly comparison, 249,000 versus 326,000. So you can really find, I mean, it's its own little city, right? So I'm sure everybody's been to a smaller, not rural area, but you know, they got Walmarts, they got like a bunch of bars and stuff like that. I'm not sure on the population size, quite frankly, but you can find, you know, houses, investment properties, farms, and everything's just cheaper, right? It's an hour away from the city. West End Halifax. Total sales and days on market, 9 and 27. Showings per listing and new listing, 4.1 and 10. Sale price to list price percentage, 100.1%. Single family monthly comparison is 830,000 versus 690,000. Windsor, Nova Scotia, and that is our last one. So Windsor, again, we've gone over this. It's kind of down by wine country. It's the other way. So we got the Eastern Shore we brought in today, which was up the Eastern Shore, obviously, which is kind of to the right of the screen. We got Truro, which is to the upper right of the screen. we had the South Shore, and we had Bridgewater, which are both to the left of the screen. And Windsor is kind of the other commuting area with cheaper home prices, hour up a divided highway, you know, and you're close to a lot of cool stuff down there, quite frankly. Cool nature. Total sales and days on market, 24 and 15. Showings per listing and new listing, 5.2 and 26. That's quite a few houses. 6 new listings. Sale price to list price percentage, 97.9%. Single family monthly comparison is 340,000 versus 302,000. So for folks that are okay with, you know, and again, this is another area where there's investment properties. You know, there's a downtown, there's properties on bigger lots, properties in the town of Windsor, all kinds of stuff. So it's just another option there. But yeah, okay. I think that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and plan is to keep doing these other communities as well. I hope you guys get a bit of value out of this, and we'll see you in the next one of these. And I hope you guys have been enjoying some of the stuff I've been putting out on the old YouTube channel as well. And if you're liking this content and you haven't subscribed yet, then I'd love it if you did. All right, have a great day, everybody.